Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Coos Bay Parks Commission meeting for October 17th. We will start out with roll call. I do not see any commission members or anyone else online, so we'll start down here with Bill.
Bill Davis, Commissioner.
Coco Sutton, Parks Commissioner.
Patty Scott, Parks Commissioner.
Ariane Lyons, Parks Commission.
Jamie Faraday, Parks Commission.
Kurt Benward, Parks Commission.
Greg Hamlet, City of Coos Bay.
Christina Texera, City of Coos Bay.
And Amy Edmonds, City of Coos Bay.
Thank you so much. Now down to public comment. Eric?
Thank you. Hello, Eric Clough, Coos Bay. So friends and familiars there, just wanted to provide some supporting comment on the committee. So I think this will be a big step for getting some progress made on some of the bicycle and pedestrian transportation issues. And I wanted the committee to consider, and city council to consider an offer from Front Street Community Bike Works to host the meetings. I don't know if, seems like we're making this up from scratch. So there's no, I don't know if there's a requirement or need to have it on city property or something like that, but we have a meeting space. We have audio visual equipment, we have a screen. So, you know, we'd be happy to host something like that. And then I also wanted to just drop a comment on the formerly known as the bicycle project, formerly known as Sharrows, and say that I think that ODOT has, I remember at the joint work session last month, I believe, the mayor, you know, made a comment that, you know, he had been historically anyways, very disappointed with participation with ODOT. And, you know, I don't know the history of why he felt that way. There must be good cause for that. But I believe at this point in time, ODOT is coming to the table. And haven't had any recent communications with them, but I have had contact with John Lazier and then another fellow at ODOT. And I think that they are actually perhaps even actively working on some design criteria for crossing at Bayshore and Market. So that's a key piece of several transportation system projects for the city, not just the Sharrows project, but the Front Street Blueprint Plan, and it's called out in the transportation system plan. So there's lots of good reasons to pursue that. And then finally, I just want to say that Front Street Community Bike Works and citizens that we represent, the cyclists we represent, we can bring resources to us. If the city empowers citizens groups, we can bring effort and resources to help make a project like Sharrows happen. We can bring funding potentially. We can bring design assistance. We can bring on the ground labor assistance and even materials in some case. So if we are empowered to participate, I think that we can help move this project forward, because again, at the work session last month, I heard very tepid support from councilors, commissioners, and a lot of reasons why we just can't seem to do it. Just costs too much to build, just costs too much to maintain. Don't have the staff effort. I was just hearing a lot of reasons why it can't. And I really want to encourage you to come to reasons why we can. As a cyclist, sounds a little funny, but I think we feel sometimes like second-class citizens. We're very undeveloped. The city has spent millions of dollars and years and many staff hours on 2 parking lots in the last 5 years or so. And I'm not trying to throw stones. Those parking lots are awesome, but it's just an example of priorities. So thank you, and I'll let you get back to your business.
All right, our action items for today, item 3A, an update from Oregon Bay Area Beautification.
Hello, I'm Katie Loy. I'm from the Oregon Bay Area Beautification, and I have a progress report. As of September, OBAB has had 360 volunteers, 906 hours worked, 62 cubic yards of trash, 22 cubic yards of debris, which includes invasives like English ivy, Scotch broom, blackberries, weeds, and shrubs. We planted 40 Sitka spruce trees, and we spread 200 yards of mulch on the trails. And in Coos Bay alone, we've had 233 volunteers. We've worked 582 hours. We collected 53.5 cubic yards of trash. And we've collected 14.5 cubic yards of debris, including English ivy, Scotch broom, blackberries, weeds, and shrubs. And then to kind of update from last month's or this month's cleanup, that brings it up to 297 volunteers we had for, and that brings it up to 742 hours and 26 cubic yards of invasives. So I also had this idea pop up today on my Facebook feed that was really cool that I thought I'd share with you. And they had at the park, tip this park and a QR code to make a payment to tip the park. So I don't know if that's a available funding option, but I thought that was kind of cool. So I have some report of the Toppets cleanup we did in September. It was a great turnout. We had 69 volunteers and we filled up 3 large city trucks. And this was a good collaboration with SWAC and the Coos Watershed Association. We partnered with SWAC so that way we could access their property to help clean that up. And we had the SWAC's women's basketball team get rough and dirty and go into a big cleanup. So we appreciate SWAC for that collaboration, as well as Coos Watershed Association for helping to remove invasives. So I have some good and bad news about Toppets. And to go over to the bad, we still come across some drug paraphernalia. We see evidence of fire and trash, even though it's like literally 2 feet away from a trash can. But those trash cans are used. The good news is that park looks great because of volunteers who actually go out there daily and weekly to maintain it. I'll give credit to Derek Ton and Trevor and Lori Thomas. It's a credit to them why it looks so great. So we work with them when we do Toppets to find out certain spots we need to pay attention to, and we get to that. So we're also looking forward to any improvements for John Toppet. So we love to see that. The October Marshfield Pioneer Cemetery, we actually doubled the number of volunteers to 64 from last time we did it in May. And we got approximately 12 cubic yards of invasives and weeds. And I'll let Cricket give you the details next month because it's a lot of good stuff on that. And then next month is the Coos Bay Boardwalk, and we'll be doing trash, weeding, and pulling invasives. And we are working on next year's calendar, and we hope to add a couple of different new sites. So you'll have that update once we approve it. And that's it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate everything that you and your volunteers do in the park.
Yeah, it's very fulfilling. So
Thank you.
I wanted to let you know that we have been getting more and more money for replacing the trail markers there. So one of my fellow commissioners here, Mr. Jamie Faraday, is going to work with me and some other people getting those done. So thank you so much for everything you do. And the people that are walking in that park every day are giving us feedback and making donations. And we're hopeful that we can get some of those posts that are down on the ground back up, and things will be cohesive with the trail maps.
yes, I do have a recommendation, just because maybe some of the people in the neighborhood outlining the park may not know about it. If you did some kind of door-to-door campaign to maybe let them know about it, I think that they'd probably be interested in helping the park. That's just an idea.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 3B, the quarterly report on the kayak vendor.
So at the November 16th, 2023 Parks Commission meeting, the commission recommended the approval of the installation of the kayak kiosk at John Toppet's Park. Part of that approval was that the commission did request that a quarterly update be provided of the financials for the kayak kiosk. As requested, it has been included in the staff report, and also the owners, Adam and Jenna, are here to answer any questions if you do have any. It looks like they're doing quite well over at the park. So the site looks great. They have a concrete platform that they have their site located. It does have a good camera system on it. If you kind of approach to it, I have been said hi to a couple times that I've been out there. So they're being very responsible with it. I think they're being very successful with it. And so, but they are here to answer any questions if the commissioners do have any.
I was wondering if there was any vandalism or anything. I know one time I was there and we talked over the box and
Yeah,
I was
please come
just
up.
curious if, for this quarter, since you've built it and put it in, how you're, I know you do a lot of monitoring and hear things and the
Yeah.
person that's putting food there for the ducks, et cetera. But I
Right.
was just curious about that situation.
So for vandalism, 0 at both locations. We haven't had any vandalism at 10 Mile or at John Toppit's, which has been amazing. So I think the cameras and just, it's, I don't see why anybody would want to steal a kayak. That we have signs that say they're GPS tracked and everything. So I think that deters them from doing that. And then the lights come on when people walk by and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and the park host really helps. Jerry is really cool.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. So he's a big help.
Additional commissioner questions? No, I think it's exciting and it gets more.
Yeah,
people
yeah,
out
it's had,
there.
I think it shows there, it's had 83 rentals. The 136 is the returns. They don't line up obviously because people lock their cards in the lockers. I have to remote unlock it so it doesn't show the return. That's why those two numbers don't line up. But yeah, we've had close to 90 rentals there now since June, which is pretty amazing. It flows 10 Mile out of the water. 10 Mile has only had about 75 rentals since January. And so we expect hopefully to have at least 300 by this time next year for John Toppit's. So
Awesome.
we'll hope to double that. Yeah. So seems to be doing very well.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Right, moving on down to item 3C, consideration to approve the bylaws of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Fact Finding Committee.
So at the last Parks Commission meeting, or at the October 1st work session, I'm sorry. This topic of the fact finding committee did come up. Although it was brought up at the September 23rd joint work session, the request of the Parks Commission was to bring it back to the October 1st work session, which we did. And in light of that, we do have the bylaws that was drafted by staff in response to that work session. And in light of that, the questions, the comments that came of that discussion at the work session. So we do have those bylaws in draft form. These have been reviewed by the city's attorney and the city manager. So I do have 2 actions here. If it pleases the commission, recommend the approval of the bylaws of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Fact Finding Committee. Once a recommendation is made, staff will present the city council for approval. And the second action is if it pleases the commission, recommend for approval 2 commissioners to serve on the Bicycle and Pedestrian Fact Finding Committee. Once a recommendation is made, staff will present to the city council for approval.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review and does anyone have any comments or adjustments that they would like to make to the bylaws?
You're looking at me again. Yeah. First off, you guys did a really good job on this. I appreciate it. I know that's not something that you necessarily plan on doing in your normal workday, but I thought you did a really good job. Let me ask one question about Article 7, number 2, where it says review. It says the committee must send the proposed amendments to the city attorney's office for review. Do you mean the committee or do you mean the commission? Because the sentence before that is the commission proposes amendments to the bylaws. I would assume then that the commission would probably send it to the attorney for review.
It would be the commission would send the proposed amendments to the commission, city's attorney.
Okay.
So we can make that change.
Okay. like I said, I think it's really a good job. And I don't really want to change anything because it would have to go back to the attorney again, but the coordinating between Parks Commission members and committee members again, and lining that up. I wonder if that's gonna be at times a little bit difficult. The committee members are on there for 2 years. The Parks Commission people are on for 4. Yeah, and so I'm not quite, because the way that it's worded, of course, the city council appoints all the members, which would include the Parks Commission members to the committee. And I wonder how those timeframes sometimes may match up, but other than that. Yeah.
It's my understanding commissions are typically 4 and committees are typically 2 in the city. And that's kind of been the way it's been in the past. And then if you are on the committee, but then no longer at a commission, then you would become a committee member at large if that other position typically is not filled. So being on multiple that overlap and dovetail, it works till it doesn't, and then it's whatever you get removed from is what you get removed from. So-
Okay, I was only looking at it from the standpoint of the city council having to people apply all the time to be on that fact-finding committee.
Mhm.
Because if I'm on the commission and let's say my term is up and I'm on the bicycle pedestrian committee as well, I apply to the city, go through the interview process. They say, okay, Kurt, you did okay. We'll put you back on the Parks Commission again. And then the next year, my term on the bicycle committee is up again and I have to apply again and go to them.
Yeah,
So it's only from the standpoint, it seems like the poor old city councilors are going to be reviewing lots of applications all the time, some of which may be very similar to one they just saw a short time ago. But, you know,
I think it's pretty common. And I somehow end up in front of council like yearly for renewals because none of my renewals line up on anything.
Okay.
So blame that on the system, but it also gives opportunity for council and everyone to check in. So if maybe someone's not fulfilling their duties, it gives an opportunity not renew someone as well.
okay.
Jamie?
I would like to move that we accept the bylaws for the bicycle and pedestrian fact finding committee with Kurt's correction to the committee issue.
On item 7.2. I have a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Patty. Any additional comments? All those in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Moving down to the item of appointing 2 Parks Commissioners to the committee, the fact-finding committee. Do I hear any nominations? Or volunteering or voluntolding?
I see Commissioner Matthews is not here. He's too busy.
Would he have to apply?
Well, the commissioners are appointed.
Correct.
And so then it's the other positions that actually have to apply. So,
It says
Right?
all members.
well, but they all have to be approved by the,
Yeah.
so we make the recommendation, but council as always, as they are the umbrella above us, have final say.
So we would make the recommendation and they would approve.
Yes,
Correct.
or not approved, or hopefully approved.
I'm asking for that question.
Yeah, or I don't know, we have a bicycle duel in the parking lot for it. I'm not sure.
So the question I'm asking is, please recommend the approval of 2 commissioners to serve on the bicycle and pedestrian fact-finding committee.
Mhm.
Is there anyone that wants to be on that committee
I'm sure.
that's
Carmen
here
does.
today?
Kurt
I'm sure Carmen. does.
and Kurt,
And the gentleman sitting next to me, I know has expressed interest.
Greg?
I cannot be on.
I know.
Oh, the other.
I'd be
gentleman-
happy to.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have Jamie and we have Carmen. Yeah. So we will, do we have any other additions or comments? And then, of course, we'll have to verify with Carmen, who can't respond right now because he's in transit.
Yeah, I think before we did that and then we had a backup.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
Jamie would make an excellent backup. Unless you want to do it, Coco.
I think I'm back up on the safe routes to.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
on the backup.
I
So,
think, actually, I think Jamie, you're not a backup on the Safe Routes to School. I think with Eric's departure, I think you moved into that role.
That's right.
So your alternate role has been vacated and you became the
Makes sense.
Parks
Got it.
representative on that.
If you embrace that duplicity, you'll become an even more subject matter expert.
all right, so I am hearing Jamie and Carmen. Do the commissioners have any other recommendations, and would somebody like to make a motion?
I would move that we recommend Jamie and Carmen to the new Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee.
All right, I have a first. Do I have a second?
I second, this is Coco.
I have a first and second. Any other further discussion? All those in favor say aye or raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your service. Item 3D, project updates related to parks system.
At the August 15th Park Commission meeting, it was agreed in an effort to enhance transparency and communication between staff and commission, staff will provide monthly updates to the Park Commission for grants, capital improvements, and operation and maintenance projects. The monthly updates will allow the opportunity for Park Commission to ask questions, provide input, and stay informed on the projects associated with the park's bicycle and pedestrian projects. For grants for the Mingus Park restroom, our Oregon Parks and Recreation Department approved the local government grant for $343,465 out of a $572,441 project. Remaining 40% is match requirement. We expect those grant agreements in October or November. Judith Ann Mogan Foundation, $50,000 was awarded towards matching funds for the local government grant. First Interstate Bank staff has an application in progress for $25,000 for the match for the local government grant. For Front Street improvements, the Oregon Community Pass, staff submitted a letter of intent for 30% design of the pathway improvements, enhancing access from East Market Avenue to the Coos History Museum. That letter of intent has been approved. Ford Family Foundation, we were awarded $25,000 for safety and stabilization project costing $99,402. Weyerhaeuser Giving Fund, staff has submitted a grant application asking for $25,000 for the same project. Kinsman Foundation, we were approved for $7,500 in funding. Coco's diligently working on the National Register of Historic Places. We will submit our revisions on Monday. For capital improvement projects, we have the Safe Routes to School Alta Planning conducted site visits and presented findings to the Coos Bay School Board. Bike improvement facilities, formerly known as the Sharrows Project. It was discussed in a joint session exploring traffic signal approval at Highway 101 and commercial from ODOT. Mingus Park rewilding, the archaeological investigation has been completed. The project is expected to be finished by November 1st. Central Avenue road improvements, 90% plan submitted, project to open for bids on October 31st. Anderson Avenue sidewalk improvements, bid awarded, preparations for construction underway. Operation and maintenance, Bay Area Fun Festival, staff facilitated setup and cleanup for the event held on September 21st and 22nd. Mingus Park, the pond was treated for invasive parrot feather. And they removed a few dead trees up at Shoshi. Edlund Park, new park sign designed and installed. And spring 2024 pothole project successfully repaired 27 potholes throughout the city.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the update. Okay. And then there's also, for commissioners, if you want to look in your packet, there's also some, additional comments in there as well, or, budgetary items. Go,
I
go.
had a question, the digging that's going on right now where the previous restroom was, is that pulling out old infrastructure or?
The Mingus, the rewilding project.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's actually installing new infrastructure.
okay,
So we've got to move that water that naturally comes through and swamps that
Mhm.
area to the south. We've got to move that water. That water is not going to stop
right,
coming in there. So we just got to move it through the site. So we're going to install a catch basin. That's going to be the terminus of the above ground water.
Mhm.
And from there, it's going to travel underground. So we're just repiping from a
Okay.
new install catch basin, piping it to a new manhole that's already been installed
okay.
to the existing storm system.
Because that's always been an issue there. That originally was where those bridges were for the WPA because the water catches down at that end, so.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so there's not big culverts under there going,
Nope.
does it go into the storm drains or,
No, we're just installing new to move that water to continue its natural path.
okay, to the bay?
Yep.
Okay.
Just remind me where the restrooms are going to be placed once they're installed.
They're going to be a little bit north of where we're at now. So the area that we have designated for the new restrooms is going to be in that grassy area to the north of where we're constructing now.
And that's a modular unit. It's just going to be
It's a prefabricated restroom.
very much like the one at 100 Acre Woods. Have you seen that one? Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other additional commissioner comments on the updates? Moving on to future agendas. Everyone will take a look at the agendas and for regular meetings and work sessions and see if there's any, as discussed prior, please note that the December 5th Parks Commission work session, we are going to skip that month. So take a look at that, but we do still plan on having the December 19th Parks Commission. What? So just so that the commission is aware, our contract has ended with the grant writer that we had on staff. And so we are transitioning to other possibilities for utilizing those funds and securing grants. And we'll keep you posted as we're moving forward with that. So we've got a lot of successes and a lot of grants out there. And as they start to come in, we'll figure out where we're at. But at this time, we don't have contract with a current grant writer, so. Other thing I'd like to talk about, so as being as part of the design review committee, Cricket came in and had excellent idea. Do you want to go ahead and share it? Well, no, go, why don't you go ahead and share so that I don't just stumble through your idea and try to translate it?
Cricket Souls, and I live just outside of Coos Bay. And I thought this was my every other month, but it didn't for the report. I don't know if we're going to still continue to do that because I did sort of report last month a little bit. So we did have several successful things. First, on the 27th, we had the dedication of 3 headstones to Army veterans who'd served in the Philippines. Students did an outstanding job. We got good support from American Legion, Andrew Bice from Mission 22, and also Pastor Chris Van Lobedown served it with us, and a Sea Cadet helped make it look very formal and official. So that worked out great. And, I think that brings it to a total of 13 headstones that we've documented this stuff and got it. So then, as Katie alluded to, we had an amazing work day. It was prefaced with a person contacting us from the Coast Guard who arranged for chiefs and E7 ratings to come down on Friday to work. And it was both to do community service, do a little bonding between the chiefs, and they did amazing work. So they were able to do a lot of things that we probably wouldn't do on a regular workday, like climb the trees. So if you go look at the sycamore maple, which isn't in great shape, but it's been nicely pruned up and it is kind of unique there. So we're gonna keep babying along. And then did remove big chunks of rubble that was left over from the repair work. So that was great. And then Katie, like she said, we have went too far. The details of what we did, except it doesn't want to open up now. 400 pounds of rubble left from the repair work, which mostly sandstone. Some of that we're keeping on site in case we find it useful. 2,000 square feet of serious ivory removal. They were really good that I was able to divert people who were just kind of general weeding into really attacking ivy. And the one person said that the ivy was trembling. So we had 20 cubic yards of brush, mostly invasive. So Dave Crandall has his work cut out for him. 3 cubic yards of tree branches that the Coast Guard got from pruning, a quarter acre of weed whack, just by OBOB. More was done by the Coast Guard. One thing that's been on hold is find a grave photo requests. So 27 find a grave photo requests were fulfilled. Most of these were for unmarked plots. So it's not as easy to take a photo of those. And I don't have all of them posted, but they'll all be posted in fairly short time. And then there's always an interest in cleaning headstones. So 5 GI headstones were cleaned. And that might be able to become a separate workshop, is that headstone cleaning, because that seems to be a popular item. So that's we're kind of on hold now for big events. We'll kind of involve students and things and whatnot, but our next big event will be in May, and we'll work with OBOB and figuring that out. So that's really good. I'm going to step away from the cemetery for a minute, unless there's any questions about. Oh, one thing I should fill. So nice report on what's going on, but we do feel a little bit like an orphan in the cemetery and don't know how to make sure you're aware. We're not bragging. We just want to make sure we're not overstepping and that we're working together. I was really surprised to find out that they've been working since June to identify the ownership of the cemetery. So would have been the person just showed up unexpectedly on Friday and was surprised the city hadn't even given the code for the gate. So he was really glad he met me. They were actually going to have to figure out how they were going to crawl in over the fence or through the arches. So a lot of work was taking place, and some of that was certainly unnecessary and an expense that maybe they didn't have to go to, because we probably should have targeted what they were doing and provide a lot of the research that we already had on hand. So the goal of Jennifer was to find an iron pipe that would mark the merchant plot. Well, good luck on that one, but it was really fun because he brought a pin locator and we went around and found lots of different things. And then they felt really comfortable that maybe we had found the iron pipe and excitedly dug up 2 holes, found a pipe, thought that was maybe one end, went to the other end. We found the old water line. So we know that at one time, I think it was put in by the volunteer firemen, there was a water line in there. Now we know where it is. Not that it's functional. It probably went out to 7th Street because that's the way the pipe goes. And then when they widened 7th Street, of course, it was probably cut off. So if you want to follow the other end, it's probably there somewhere. So I think we need to coordinate our efforts better on that for good economy and make sure we're all on the same page in multiple ways.
I don't know who was researching.
Who was researching?
Yeah, who was it that showed up?
Jennifer took that on as a project,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
you know, Becky's done 20 years of research and all her, she sent Jennifer a 20-page document and it's all footnoted. We have spent hours going through the city council records,
Yeah.
picking up newspapers, recording stuff, documenting it from the county offices. So, and we could just give them the map things. So nothing's been decided yet. We're still kind of in limbo. But the company that was actually hired to do some of this work is just stopping right now because we're not gaining anything. So until we regroup and figure out how to proceed, it's kind of on hold. But it would be really good to figure that out. And Nate McClintock's been involved. So a lot of people have been involved, but we haven't been involved. And you know, we want to make sure that all the documents that we have are somewhere in a file at the city or if we can be useful for these things. We think that's really important
Yeah.
to do that. And that doesn't seem to be happening right now. So, and Greg and I will talk some more about that.
Okay,
Yes.
Patty.
I just wanted to say, for everyone, Cricket did a most excellent presentation at Rotary.
Very good.
I learned a lot about the people buried up there and the history behind them. And it was very helpful because I was at a meeting in Grants Pass and there are people who go around purposely to these historic cemeteries. And so someone had just come to ours. So it is a tourist attraction, which I didn't realize there were people that do that.
It is. It's become one of the more popular heritage tourism things. So it's one of those options. And because it's open, you know, not 24 hours, but it open from daylight to dusk. One thing we promoted when we've done Travel Oregon things is this, you know, maybe the place you want to go to doesn't open till 10. We're open. So, or maybe you're going to an evening event at 7:00. We're open. And that does seem to be the trick. A lot of people in the summer show up I get lots of calls at like 6:00 in the evening and they want the code for the cemetery. So I think it's important to recognize how much the heritage tourism is people do come to cemeteries. We're also really fortunate because when we spearheaded that part of the All-Star Heritage, now we're going to reap some benefits from it, including a $3,000 grant that's non-competitive, and we'll be talking about that next week with all the All-Star entities from the city, and then also Coos Bay will be on the next round coming up next year for disaster resilience and actually big planning that's already taken place in Cottage Grove and is right now in Bend and Salem getting finished up. So some really exciting things that has come about in weird ways, and it's our heritage that's bringing some unexpected funds and interest into that.
Thank you, Cricket.
I'm not done yet.
I know, I was
Go
wondering-
ahead. And Coco has her hand up.
Yes, would you mind I know about it and you know about it, but would you let people know when that meeting's gonna be, just so on the All-Star Heritage and
Okay.
just a little bit about why that's
Sure.
come here?
Sure. So right now Chelsea Schnabel is doing a good job doing it. And we're you do have to renew that in within 4 years. And that might mean that you just satisfy the requirements, but you might have new ones. So we had a meeting last week. This one will be Thursday,
Thursday at 11.
20.
Yeah.
24th. Okay, from 11 to noon. It also has Zoom capabilities, and it looks like Chelsea's trying to record it. I know you can see the previous meeting is up there. So basically anyone is welcome that has ideas. So this one is primarily geared to figure out what might be a good use for that $3,000 or other things. And one of the criteria that we didn't meet on the 23 possible that we could have done was that we meet on a regular basis. So we don't have a very exciting name, but All-Star Heritage works for most of us. And even though there were a couple entities that weren't in it. One was Marshfield High School And I got chewed out a little bit by Mary Pezisniak because she's so proud of that. And we just ran out of time. And the other one was the art museum. And I'm sure we'll come up with other ones. And Curry Gale actually said those could be either added in informally on our end, or they could also include them. So it's a matter of just kind of keeping track. But it's a really good group to kind of just meet maybe 4 times a year is what Chelsea's pretty much setting it up as, and everyone's welcome. We need all the different groups. Is that? So next, I go on to a totally different subject. So because I show up here most months, I was party to listen to all the skateboard stuff that went on. So I don't know their names. The people from the Time Bomb and other people really were advocates for the skate park and really showed how it could be useful for the youth in our community, and also made some changes to it. There was some maintenance done by the city, also some real changes of allowing scooters in there and that. But we don't really hear, was that successful? Are youth using it? So I would like to introduce Daisy Siegel. She's a youth, and she's a junior at Marshfield. And she's come this month to kind of see that you're all friendly. I assured her you were all friendly. And
Most of the time. So,
yeah, most of the time.
We're friendly.
Yeah, and she's an active skateboarder and works with Skate Like a Girl in Portland. And so this is her preview. So good thing you all behaved. Next month, she would actually like to come. I'm encouraging her to come and give a report, just like the kayak. It's informal, but if someone doesn't do that, we don't know how much it's getting used or what's going on. So I'd like to ask that you consider putting her on the agenda. And I believe it's scheduled for the 21st of November. Is that the?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm done now.
No, you're not done.
Oh, I'm not done yet.
What we discussed at the design review committee,
Oh, what
the
we did.
buildings. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So I'm fortunate and that I have a group of people to go report to, yell at, complain to if I need to, but I have access to a committee. And one problem is probably I cross over. Sometimes it's a planning committee, but in working on the All-Star Heritage, when I'd reach out to some of these other entities, and in particular, the Oregon Railway Museum and the Egyptian, those people again feel even more like an orphan than I do. So no, they can do their own job very well, but they don't know who they could go to if they were going to do something. They don't know if the city's, trying to do a big grant at the Egyptian that they should know about, and they don't want to be the last ones to know. So one of my suggestions, because I think we're fortunate to have this where the kayak people come and say what's going on, and I come on, and OBOB come on, that perhaps the design assistance team could take on these other entities. The parks is pretty full already, although the parks, because it also includes facilities, were the ones that made sure that when they did the parks master plan, these people weren't totally neglected. But that was an option that I considered, and we have very good people on that DAP team, including the chairman.
And you're not just saying that just because I'm also
No.
for that.
No, but we have and they have different skills and an interest in those, but sometimes you need to ask them to maybe invite others, just like I'm inviting you to have Daisy come. And I think that would be a real asset for knowing from them what's really going on and what some of their real needs are that we might not even think about.
And when Cricket presented this information to the design assistance team, I thought that was something that we could explore, because that team focuses primarily on buildings and structures. And so I think that could be something that the two committees could the committee and the commission could possibly work together. And maybe that could be something more forward face, where then, of course, like the bike and ped, everything does come here. But that might give something a little more informal or regular for the people who are spearheading the building structures of parks.
Plus, the design assistance team is is charged with overseeing National Register properties and things like that. So having a little closer working relationship with those properties would be good as well. And I think I've heard people on that team say, well, we don't have a lot to do. So we want to make that sure they're
Yeah.
earning their keep.
You want me here every Thursday is what I'm hearing.
There,
Yeah.
yeah, got that.
Yeah. Thank you, Cricket. I think it's a great idea and it's something that we can discuss and explore further and go from there.
Great.
Alright. Any other additional commissioner comments? Coco?
Yes, we had a lot of very helpful people, including OBAB and walking groups such as the Park Pack and the Soulmates and Friends of Coos County Animals that helped us with an event that we were just testing the waters for John Toppit's Park. And I thought, well, we'll maybe get one or two people that will support the posts or the benches. And right now, I just went by and we got another $200. It was priced $50 per post. So I am looking for someone from the commission that can help me just kind of sort through prioritizing the posts that need adopting, meaning a lot of people do things by numbers or their favorite thing, but there's some that are literally falling down. And because we've had that one event, we're getting a lot of feedback from these daily walkers telling us, and before someone carts them off or does something, we want to put those at the high list. And so I'm asking if there's someone other than Jamie, because Jamie's already helping me with physical work when we get to that point. If there's anyone else that would like to contact me to start working on that, because we want to start ordering the 6x6 pressure treated posts that will be cut by the vendor that we do that through, so that we can hopefully get some of them in the ground by the end of the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, good? Patty? Jamie? Do you have any comments you would like to make?
Yes, actually, I, excuse me, been working as a citizen volunteer for the city with the manager to engage Energy Trust to look at the buildings in the city, particularly starting with, it's called a strategic energy management program. And we're starting with the pool house to see what we can do to reduce its energy costs. And we just signed up this last week, and we decided after talking with the representatives that we'll add on a few other buildings in the city, because it is going to engage the staff, because they need to be part of the team that understand, because they know what the energy systems of each building are. And Nicole did not want to burden the staff any more than possible. So we decided we were going to start with one building, the pool house. But after talking with the representatives, we can add or drop any building that we didn't think we had capacity for. So we're going to add a few others on and maybe get the low hanging fruit of those buildings knocked out and go from there. So that's one thing that's coming down for this year. We're looking at energy costs and see what we can do. And the other thing is I am a volunteer for a true orphan in the city, and that's the Milcoma Marsh Trail. It has been improved recently, the parking, trailhead, driveway down, and we've added a new accessible trail to the original Milcoma Marsh Trail that goes out to the salt marsh. Waiting on funds to finish that one with OPRD. So when you get a chance, get out there and check that out.
Thank you, Jamie. Really? Okay. I'm excited. I'm just kidding. Well, I do value your input incredibly much. So I appreciate you.
And Jamie, did you want to mention on your orphan project there, the kind of how we're getting away from pressure treated posts on your cedar experiment? I have a bet with Jamie. We're kind of doing a contest here.
Yeah.
Which holds up better?
The the bollards that stake out the trailhead parking at Milcoma are made of local Port Orford cedar. And it's just put in with sand and gravel rather than concrete. So, and they're beveled and painted on top. We'll see how long they last.
That's great, because the old ones were rotting out pretty badly. I walk down there on the track with a friend fairly frequently, and I'm amazed at the number of birders that use that trail. I mean, they come from all over. I'm not even talking about local people. So that's really great that that project's going forward.
There were several birders down here 2 months ago because a bird that had only been sighted twice in this state showed up there, called a Bell's Vireo, and it normally down South California, but it brought in. I saw people from Corvallis with recording gear with a parabolic microphone and all that sort of thing. It was pretty exciting. Tim Rodenkirk, our local birder, is he found it, and it's amazing.
And another example of tourism in our parks. So it's good. Greg, any updates?
Yeah, actually, I'm on that same group with Jamie on the strategic emergency or energy group. It's news to me. They set up the meeting when I was on vacation. They set up the meeting. They asked for times when we're going to do it, but I was on vacation through the whole thing, but I haven't gotten the lowdown from the city manager yet. But no, we are excited to get that done and working with that. Katie, Cricket, yes, to answer your question regarding the every other month, yes, that's still ongoing. This last month, I don't think you were, not sure what happened, but you were on the every other month. This month was Katie's or the OBAB's group. Next month, you're on. We'll look forward to having you here. But other than that, everything else is going really good. We do have the Mingus Park rewilding project. It's ongoing. We're praying that rain is gonna come a little bit later right now, and is what we're waiting for, that can just stay away farther in the calendar year or so. But yeah, we have our we're open bids on the 31st for the Central Road project, which include the bike lanes. So looking forward to that project. But other than that, we're doing good things.
Any other additional comments? No? Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone joining us today, and we will adjourn the Parks Commission meeting for October 17th.